Hello, we are live as usual today. Who's in the house? Hello, welcome to the Live Again series. It's another day to live again. It's another day to rise up. It's another day to get up. It's another day to live again, to truly live and not merely exist. I'm excited today. I can't wait to bring in our guest. Welcome, Eloho. Welcome, Kemi. Welcome, Pinewood Service Apartment. Welcome, James Movement. Okay, I see our guest is here, so let me bring her up. Welcome, Baba K. Long time. It's been a long while. It's not been a while. It's been a long while. welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
you
word,
told
you just got
me.
me. I'm in transit.
Yeah, you told
I'm
me, right?
in transit. Yeah, that's me. Sorry to be
Hello.
infected. My husband is driving.
Okay,
I'm
good
sorry, I've not
evening.
been able to make it home on time, but I'm not so far away from home though. But
Okay,
we can keep it on if that's
okay,
okay.
okay, that's fine. Good evening, welcome, and thank you for coming on the show. Oh, wow,
Thank
today is
you.
another day
Good
to live
evening. How are
again.
you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm fabulous. It's time to live again. And there's no better time to live again than now. I personally believe that we're alive for such a time as this to be able to truly live and not merely exist. And I'm super excited for the conversation we're going to have today because I know you are a resilience advocate, a resilience enthusiast. You're someone who is very resilient. So there is a part where I'm supposed to ask you, would you describe yourself as a resilient woman and why? I'm not even going to bother because I know you are. But very quickly, if you're just looking at me and wondering who is this person on Stephedd's screen, let me do a quick introduction. My name is Enifome, and I'm the founder of the Live Again movement. We help broken, abused, and distressed women live again. And we do this by, different ways. But one of the things that we do is to help them see themselves differently, to help them re-engineer their mindset, help them know that, look, that life has happened to you doesn't mean that it's the end of your life. Like, you get, life goes on. And this series features resilient women, features women living again, features people that show that this thing is possible. Life can knock you down, but you can get back up. In fact, again and again, like you again and again. There's no limit except in your head. And tonight I'm super excited to be having the one and only Stephredd. She is a connoisseur coach who specializes in self-engineering and communication coaching to help people show up, lead, and impact from their place of genius. She is a trained linguist. I'm hoping she'll speak some French for us tonight. Certified human resources professional, certified life coach, and CBT practitioner with over 2 decades of bilingual career experience spanning across Anglophone and Francophone Africa. Bearing the acclaimed title, The Genius Activator, Stephredd is the convener of the annual Resilience Summit tagged UR3, which offers psychosocial support and a roadmap to engage people to navigate the vicissitudes of a progressively disruptive world. Ladies and gentlemen, you already know who she is. She is the phenomenal, the amazing Stephredd. Oh, I like the last
Hi,
line.
hi, Anifo. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I like the
Which one?
last
Which
line
part
that
of it?
says, sorry, you said what?
Now, you say you like the last line.
Yeah,
Which part of it?
the last line that says that you teach people how to, engage this progressively disruptive world. I think that's where I'm going to start from because we live in a
Okay.
world that is really disruptive. When you think you've adapted to one thing, another one shows up. I mean, talk about the prices and the inflation. You go to the market today, you buy something at X Naira. the thing has not even finished. In fact, you are still using it. Just let it just go and check. And then you
No, you're
get
not still
there.
using it. You're on your way back home.
Oh,
You're on your way back home from buying it.
oh,
Yes, you have not even reached home. And it
oh.
changes.
It's already
Mm.
times 3. And you're like, oh my Lord. So I don't think there's ever been a time that resilience is needed than now.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you need to be sane, you need to be okay, you need to be well. And it starts from the inside. Because it's easy for us to just look good. Well, women, we specialize in looking good on the outside. But sometimes there's this lack of congruence between the inside and the outside. And then we
And
just
the
get used
outside.
to it. Yeah, I mean, for someone like you that deals with showing up, right? You know that people can get used to showing up when they're not okay.
Yeah,
Like when I say,
absolutely.
and I don't mean you have to be always okay to show up, because a lot of us sometimes face challenges and we still show up. But
And we
what I'm
show
saying
up.
is,
Yeah,
when there is no authenticity, when there is no the inside and the outside, there is no correlation. Like you're dying on the inside, but you're shining on the outside. We need a bit
the
to
outside.
show that you're okay. So I really want
Even when you're
us
not
to
okay.
delve into
Mm.
these issues. Like,
Yeah.
and first of all, I want to ask the question: what does the term "live again" mean to you? Because a lot of people are existing. I cannot keep myself. I beg. Price they increase, and
Mm.
everything they make adjust. They exist like that. More just they move and they go share. So I would like to know your thoughts on the term "live again." What does it mean to you? And regarding everything that we've said now, your thoughts on it.
Live again. Hi, Morty. I see you. Live again. Okay, let's.
Oh, network.
It's almost like. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. It was buffering initially.
In one way or the other, there are different things that we die to every day. So it's almost like you're dying to something every day. So every new day, when the Bible says that we sleep as dead men, right? When you go to bed, you no matter the power, the status, the money, whatever it is you are as vulnerable as anyone. You are as powerless as anyone. And takes it's a blessing to wake up every morning. For every time you wake up in the morning, it's another opportunity to live. So
Mm,
if you have breath, if you've had it is a grace, if you've had the privilege to experience another breath, it's another opportunity to live again.
mm,
And not
mm,
just existing, it's another opportunity to impact and use the 24 hours, or even say, let's just say the probable 12 to 14 waking hours that you have, to be as
mm,
impactful as you can, because the next number of hours that you're going to be sleeping, you can't be as impactful as you were when you were awake. So
mm,
in those moments, how are you ensuring that you're making the making optimal use of the breath of the air that you breathe and showing up as fully as you can? I like to say showing up with the fullness of your genius. And I'm going to,
mm,
I don't need to preempt myself, just say that now, that I believe that every time we live is an opportunity to show forth our genius. When I talk about genius, sometimes people just wonder. I've seen a lot of people who don't recognize themselves as genius or see themselves as genius. And the reason why that is important to me is because I believe, and this is what I run by, that when God created humans, of course he considered that if he puts the fullness of himself in the human
mm,
being, we will blow up, we will burn, we will roast. Because no human being can embody the fullness of who he is. So what did he do?
mm,
He put a portion on himself in each human being. To some he gave one, to some he gave two, to some he gave 10, each according to their capacity. Our responsibility now is to show forth
mm,
the fullness of that gift, whether it is one we have or if it's 10 we have. For every time we show up with that gift that he gave us, we're showing up with an aspect of God's genius. For every time
mm,
we show up with it, we're showing up with, so that means I have an aspect of God's genius that you don't have.
mm,
And you have
mm,
an aspect of God's genius that I don't have. But for every time we show up, we're actually shining a light that is unique to us. That light makes us genius. And when we become aware of that and also recognizing that dog not a born goat, so God no fit born, yeah. So if God has put a gifting of God in us, that means we are gods on earth. And we have a responsibility to make the optimal use, to make optimal use of every breath that we breathe, of every life that we experience in each day to shine forth with the genius that we have and live optimally regardless of what life
Wow.
throws. The reason life is throwing those things at us is because it's
Regardless.
trying to make us not believe that we have God in us. But when we show
Oh,
up regardless, it is the
oh my
genius in
goodness.
us that helps us to show up regardless of those dark clouds and say, hey, I'm tougher than this. Yeah, that's just how I would
Oh my
put it.
God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm tempted to ask you if you saw my post for today. My post said, the devil does not waste his time on idiots. In fact, is the reason you're not is because you're not an idiot that he's even disturbing
That's
you. In
why
fact,
he's on
because
your
there's this
case. Yeah.
tendency when life begins to throw all sorts at a person, for the person to begin to doubt themselves and their identity. It happened to me. I felt like, why are all these things happening to me? I've done my own part. They serve God, they do my own thing. Why would I go through this kind of thing? I was just, it was a lot for me to take in. And that was the peak period where the devil told me that I was nothing, I was not good enough, I was, and thank God for, the person I had beside me at that time. She said the devil does not waste his time on idiots. And that was a light bulb moment for me. So when you say that, it's because we are geniuses, right? And we need to recognize that we're geniuses. In fact, it's when we recognize that we're geniuses, that's when we begin to take charge of whatever is happening, because whatever is happening will continue to happen. It has been happening, it will still be
Absolutely.
happening. And I always say that
Absolutely. Yeah.
life does not knock you down once, it will keep knocked down, or life will always happen.
No, I mean let's give an example.
Yeah.
When David had to fight the lion, it was the lion before
Mm.
the bear. And sometimes I feel maybe there was a fox, so because
Mm.
it's gradient, it's in grades.
Yeah,
So
a
the
smaller
first
animal.
adversity,
Yeah.
yeah, the first adversity that the Bible tells us was the lion. He killed the lion. Did he stop? No, he came higher next time. He came as a bear.
Mm.
He killed the bear. He came higher next time. He came as Goliath. He killed Goliath. He came higher next time. He came as Goliath's brothers. He came higher, came as nations and cities. So
Mm.
the thing is, disruptions actually don't stop.
Mm.
We just,
Mm.
it's and there's something I said during UR3 that disruption in itself, I don't think disruption is bad, because if when we graduate to the point where we become disruptors, then disrupt, because the disruptor is not affected, it's the disrupted that is affected. So as a disruptor, you are disrupting things, albeit in a good way. As a disrupted, you are being disrupted by things. Now, how do you take that disruption that you've experienced and turn it to gold?
Oh
How do
my
you refine
goodness.
it or refine yourself and then turn that situation to one that impacts not just you, but impacts around? But the thing is, when we come to realize that for every time a disruption comes, it makes us tougher if we see it correctly, mentally, emotionally, spiritually tougher. The only reason why David could take on the bear is because he had toughened up from fighting the lion. Because Goliath looked like the bear. So this is connecting. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can
So I
hear you
said
now.
he, he could attempt Goliath because Goliath looked like the
Mm.
bear. I mean, the bear is tall,
Mm.
right? All that
Mm.
scruffy looking. He could attempt Goliath because he had dealt with a bear. He could attempt the bear because he had dealt with a lion. They're just as ferocious. So he built capacity on each new level. And
Mm.
when we start seeing disruptions and adversities as an opportunity to build capacity, as an opportunity to review ourselves, to say, hey, what is the capacity that I have to climb to surmount this, or to go beyond this, or to live beyond this, or to turn these lemons to lemonade. If I don't know how to make lemonade, there's the option of lemon cake. That can be, you can even create lemon banga soup. You can create it. You can form your own thing with it, right? So it's just the ability to see that even in the midst of this seeming disruptions, we can choose to turn it in such a way that it favors us. Yeah.
Choose. I mean, you've said so many powerful things in such a short time. And I just want to pick on some of the things that you've said. You said that disruptions don't stop. Disruptions don't stop. I think it's important to know this. You know, when they say from the
yes,
days,
it is. It
from the
may
days
go
of
away
John the
for a
Baptist.
while.
Yeah.
What did he say about Jesus? After he tempted him, do the jump from mountain. What did he say? The devil retreated up until an appointed time.
Yeah.
So that means when we have been freed from, when we have surmounted one, keep building capacity.
Yeah. It doesn't end. It doesn't stop. I always say that when you get bigger, that's when the thing gets smaller. But when you are the only way the thing can consume you is if you're getting swallowed by that thing. And the only way you will not get swallowed by that thing is if you get bigger. So I really resonate when you say that the disruptors need to emerge from the disruption, because the disruptions will not stop. They actually don't stop. And then you said disruptors are not affected. It's the disrupted that is affected. I think it's that feeling that I'm helpless, that feeling that I'm hopeless, that feeling I see even when I engage with women who are broken, abused, and distressed. They think that, oh, there's nobody, I don't have anybody. This thing is so bad. And you know, when people go through challenges, there's tendency to think that they are the only ones going through it. There is tendency to believe that it's bigger than it actually looks like, or it actually is. And then that's where the whole mind work and the thoughts and negative thoughts come to play. And sometimes people dance in these thoughts. They don't have the tools to actually stop it, be mindful, and take charge of their mind. So they just dance in it, and then they get submerged in it. So they just keep drowning and drowning. So it's even difficult to explain to such a person that you're a disruptor, you're a genius, because in the person's mind, what are you talking about? Are you aware of this? Are you aware of that? Are you seeing this? But what I hear you say is that the disruptors need to emerge. The disruptors need to emerge. And this is the time that disruptors need to emerge and know that, look, before I was born, I was already an overcomer. Like you said, goats know, they born dog. It's not a case of something that is happening now. It's a case of my predestination. Who did God say I am? What did he send me to come and do here? There is nothing that can happen that can kill me. And I say that sometimes. I always say nothing can kill me in this life. And people are like, but you're a mortal person. I say, no, nothing can kill me. It's my mindset. I would kill the thing before it kills me. And that's the resilient mindset that knows that I am bigger than anything that will come my way. You said something. You said, take that disruption and turn it to gold. Take that disruption and turn it to gold. I think my other question would tackle this, because I already know what you're talking about, but I don't want to dwell on this question for a long time. I want to just speak on the other things that you said. You mentioned perspectives. You said seeing the things, seeing that disruption as an opportunity, which is so critical. When we want to solve problems, we need to know that we are problem solvers before we solve the problem. Because if we think the problem, if we don't know that we're problem solvers, the problem will turn us into something else. So you said, I heard you say perspectives, even though you didn't really say like the word. I heard you mention perspective. So you're listening to us and you're going through challenges. You need to start seeing that thing differently. You need to start seeing it differently. You can't keep looking at your problems as your problems. You have to start looking at your problems as opportunities to become better, to become bigger, stronger, and all of that. Then you mentioned capacity. What do you need to do? There's so much knowledge everywhere. When I see people say, I don't know what to do, sometimes I just feel like it's laziness. Yeah, because
that's the period.
Let's not come and
complacency. It's a deep level of complacency. There's a video on my page when I was speaking somewhere on May 1st last year. And one of the things I said was, no matter what it is that you have lost, you still have something.
Yes.
Because God has, God will never leave you without
Empty.
something. You
Yes.
have something. He will never leave you
Yes.
empty. He will
Yes.
never leave you without a seed.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and even if he doesn't give you a fruit, there definitely is a seed. It is now the willingness or the commitment to take that seed and plant it
Mm.
and be patient to water it, nurture it, and watch it grow. But the what keeps us complacent and feeling like, oh, we cannot, is because of the unwillingness of, permit me to use the word laziness, to commit ourselves to the work,
Work.
because it takes a lot of work to
Oh.
plant the seed,
Mm-hmm.
to water the seed, and to watch it grow.
Mm.
But because we are submerged by the, oh, when will I start? Oh, when will it grow? Oh, so we keep and we don't do anything with
Yeah.
it. Or
Yeah.
we don't even sit. And one of the questions, it's all one thing that I believe that these things, these disruptions, adversities do to you is it brings you to a state of awareness of self if you allow it.
Yes.
So it reintroduces, Albert Einstein says, adversity introduces you to yourself.
Yes.
And I would also say
To
that
your real
it
self.
reintroduces you to yourself, because you see a side of you that only adversity could have
Mm.
birthed. It's now your responsibility to take that side of you and compare it and use it to drive the boat, to paddle the boat, having designed in your mind where you want to get to. One of the challenges I think we may have that causes us not to live again is because, you exist when you don't quite have a direction of where you want to go or who you want to be, or what you even want to be remembered for, who you want to be known for, what legacy you want to leave behind, or what imprint it is that you want to be, known for. So, because when you have that, I beg your pardon, when you have that in focus and a disruption comes, you are able to go back to the drawing board to say, what did I say I was going to again?
Mm-hmm.
Is
Mm-hmm.
this the only path to get there? There are
Exactly.
different ways to kill a rat. You can
Questioning.
use gum to kill rats. You can use peppered fish. You can use crayfish. You can
Exactly.
use rat trap. There are different
Exactly.
ways to kill a rat.
Oh
So
wow.
just the ability to come back to
Mm.
ask yourself, what else? What else can I try? How else can I try? It's even possible you repeat something you have tried, but in a different way. You can
Yeah.
tweak it. You can
Yeah.
redesign it.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is try again.
Try
That's
again.
just it.
That's it.
Engage again.
Try
If you
again.
have to start from
Try
ground
again.
zero, it's the fear of starting from ground zero sometimes that makes us not want to do anything. We become lazy, complacent to self.
Mm.
But even if you have to start from ground zero to say, okay, this seed, I'm going to plant it again. I'm going to water. Maybe I was using spring water. Now I will use fresh water. I'm going to put sunlight
Mm.
all around, right? Just start from again if you have to. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I knew this was just going to be what it is. It's so powerful. It's so beautiful. It's so authentic. It's so amazing. My heart is bursting with joy. You're speaking my language. I am excited. I'm even holding myself for time because I can be very, very dramatic. But the truth is, you've said a lot. You've said it all. You've said the principles. You've said the main things. Whoever is listening to us that is paying attention, if you're really paying attention, these are the insights here. There are strategies to living again here. This is it. Really looking inwards to say, what is inside of me? What is
Yeah.
this dimension of myself that I am seeing? Because I didn't know that I could do this. I didn't know that this could be me, right? And not wallowing in that, oh my God, is this me? Oh my God, is this what I'm doing? But taking it to say, okay, okay, what can I make out of this? Okay. I'm not being, even if you're surprised by what is happening to you, you need to know that God is not surprised. It's something that has helped me. Whenever I get to a point where I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, which one is this one now? I'm like, okay, but he knows what he's doing according to Jeremiah 29
Yeah.
verse 11 message translation. I know what I'm doing. I have it all planned out. Okay, so
I
even
like
if
that.
I don't know what I'm doing, He knows what he's doing, and I'm okay knowing that he knows what he's doing. Because sometimes that control, want to, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and 25, 30 years from now. Sometimes it's not that clear.
Forgetting that 35 years doesn't just happen. It starts from the first day. We want to get to the 35th year without going through the first 34 years. We want to get to the end of 1 year. We want to lose 20 kg without going through the process to lose 1 kg.
Yes.
We want to get to December. We want to get the glory without having subjecting ourselves to the requirement to achieve it. And that is what, so we get overwhelmed because we think we have to get there, but we don't want to commit ourselves through the daily work to achieve it.
Honestly, if you're listening to us, I don't know what else to say, because man, it's not easy to live again. That's the simple truth. It's a lot of work. Trust me, I don't even want, it's a lot. And I'm sure you can relate. It's a lot to live again, because you would need to live again. Like you need to sustain your live again journey. And that's where resilience comes in, because you cannot do it without resilience. You cannot. And the world view of resilience is something else. It's something else. People think resilience is let's just come and be doing like, we got it. There's no resilience. So let's not. I don't know how much time we have to even go into that discussion, but that's not resilience.
We think resilience is being braggadocious or being brash, uncouth, jaga, doing anyhow. That's not resilience.
That's not resilience.
So you find people you find people that actually still do that, and they break in the face of disruption,
of adversity. Yes.
Or they break in the face of adversity, because it takes much more mental, emotional, spiritual toughness and internal balance and alignment. We were talking about alignment in the beginning, where there's an external disposition and there's an internal disposition. There's a lack of congruence, there's a lack of alignment between how we are internally and how we show up externally. And in this generation, in this time and age, we see a lot of external dispositions that don't align with the internal dispositions. Well, that's why, why you say, whatever you see online, whatever you see on social media is different, because people just come to show for the gram, or they just come to give you an impression, an illusion of what doesn't exist. But what we now need to do is to find alignment. Internal and external alignment. And if we don't have that, hence small wonder why you find out that this person looks so great. What's happening? Why are they having emotional or mental breakdowns? That is because there is no congruence, and it is that internal, when you are able to align your I call it integrity, right? Integrity of self, where your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your actions align, right? And integrity first to self, such that you know that I've reached my breaking point. I need to go in to refill. I need to go into to realign my roadmap, such that I am showing up authentic. And some of these words have become cliches. Being intentional, being authentic, being the real you, right? And sometimes even the word "do you" these days, "do you" is such a thing now. Do what makes you happy. My question is, do you even know the you that you are doing? Many of us don't know the you that you're doing. That you could be the battered, the broken.
You can be an influence,
because many of us, many of us are running with unconscious programming. Unconscious programming of the traumas that we've not dealt with, of the brokenness that we've not dealt with. So those things have seeped into your subconscious behaviors that are toxic, mindsets that are retrogressive, and it's not just that is not the you that God created you to be, right? So even coming to the point to realize that who I am is most likely not who I have been
Yes.
created to be. It is
Yes.
who environment and society and experiences that I have seen, heard, and experience have made me to be. Who would I ultimately want to be? Who am I really, aside from all these things that have happened to me? So identify the things that have happened to you, identify the things that the environment has breathed into you, then choose, how do I want to breathe? Do I really want to breathe the way my mother used to breathe?
Come
Do I
on.
really want to act the way my sister used to act? Because how I show up is a reflection of what I have seen and what has formed me
What you've
subconsciously,
ingested.
what I have ingested unconsciously. So even my mannerisms and the way I behave, the way I flip my hair or whip my hair back and forth is because of someone that I saw.
Yeah.
And if it was a foundational pillar at the time when I was malleable and like a sponge, I take it all in, and that forms a belief of how to show up. And then
Yes.
I am showing
The
up like
how
that in
to.
relationships, in marriages, in different things, at places of work. I'm probably burning bridges. I'm probably messing up friendships. I'm probably breaking walls that have no business being broken because, and in my mind, I am doing me. So do you, when we say do you, ask yourself, the you
Which
that you are
you?
doing, how was
Aya.
that you formed? When you're able to
This is
identify, is this
powerful.
really the you that I want to be? Or this is the you that an environment has formed? And if I identify that, who do I want to be? And recognize that life is a process of becoming. So that who I have become today is most likely not who I will be tomorrow. Because there's some things that it will take adversity to let you see about yourself. There are some
Yes.
things about yourself that your own self-awareness is present. It's not in the future. You're not aware of, because there are some triggers that you have not experienced. It takes you experiencing those triggers to know how you will show up. So being progressively aware, and that's why I talk about self-engineering. We progressively re-engineer. Oh, this is how I have become. Oh, this is what I realized. Is this what I want? If it's not it, we re-engineer and we show forward with the most optimal self we have for that moment.
Oh my God, oh, let's just share the offering basket. Let's just, at this point, let's just be going home because, like, please, if you are listening to us, just drop a comment if you're being if you're getting value, because this is value. This is a lot. I don't even know. I'm just like, you know what? Let's just leave it. We'll just come and watch the replay because there is no need to reiterate. There's just a lot, a lot. I mean, there was something you said when you said people are people are saying do you, but the you're saying, because I always say, and this is from my own personal experience, when I went through abuse, I became a zombie, I became a mute, I
Mm,
became very timid. And the Enifome speaks people see today and say, wow, oh wow, you're so bold, wow, fire, this they don't know that Enifome speaks was silenced at some
mm,
point. So I always ask the question, are you quiet or have you been silenced? Because I feel that a lot of people who think they are quiet, and in their minds, I am quiet. My personality is, oh, I'm a private person, I'm an introvert, I'm a this. When I see people like Stephredd and for me, I'm wondering, I beg is them, oh, I beg. But you want to be like them. You want to speak, you want to be bold, you
but
want to
you're
be
afraid
confident, you
to
want to
speak.
do all of that. But there's
Yeah,
just a lot of programming and conditioning and things you've experienced and all those things, but you
yeah.
feel like this is who you are, and that's actually not who you are. You just need
I,
somebody to help
I,
you reveal your real self to you, that
your
this is
real self.
really who I am. And I think that's where the question is, do you really want to continue to merely exist, or do you want to truly live? I think that choice, like you said when you were speaking, you said you choose. You choose. Adversity
It's a
can
choice,
push you
yeah.
to a corner and you will just be there. Some people have not recovered from the adversity that they experienced. They've been there 10 years,
Let me give
20,
let me give an
30.
example. Let me give an example. And this is something that I heard a statistic yesterday that a 1 in 16, is it 1 in 16? It was quite an alarming statistic. 1 in 16 or 1 in 6 girls experience, no, 1 in 3 girls or so experience some form of abuse before they're 16. And I was speaking in that situation, and one of the things I talked about was, is it okay to come down from the car I'm home and just go walking in?
Sure,
Hope that won't
that's
be too much
fine.
of a
I don't
distraction.
want you to feel
So
trapped. Yeah, sure.
one of the things I talked about how I used to be a tomboy. And, when you talked about abuse and being silenced, for me, abuse made me defensive. So the defense, I haven't experienced, had several close shaves, very close shaves to abuse. I began to put on the fence of squaring up my shoulders and tightening up my fists to walk.
Yeah.
So throughout secondary school, I wasn't one of those softy girls that, oh boy, this boy that, nah, you don't find me there. I was very,
Hard
that was when I
girl.
reinforced, that was when I reinforced my baritone. That was when I reached deep to look for the deepest version of my voice. That was when I started to bounce. That was when woe betide if they come strike me as a girl. As a guy, you're gonna hear it, right? And it was because, sorry, darling, so my children are trying to say hello. I'm just coming home. How are you doing? All right. So for me, I didn't realize that. It took me looking at, and one thing that behavioral therapy helped me to do a lot. It helped me to first, because one of the things I told myself was, I can't be trying to help people find clarity for themselves or offer therapy to people when I need therapy. So I had to first heal from whatever it is that has plagued me or that has hurt me. So just going through that, and I realized, oh, I used to be a tomboy. That's true. How come I was a tomboy? It was because I didn't want to be abused again. I didn't want to ever have that kind of close shave again. So even when I'm walking, let's say, for example, I'm walking and I see guys coming close, I clench my fists.
Come on.
And I started learning martial arts, right? And it was a subconscious programming. It was a coping mechanism. For some people, they don't come out of it. They go around like that and probably become tomboys or go all the way extreme left.
Yeah.
And if I'm not healed from that, I would say that's how I am. That's not how I am. That is what a close shave to abuse made me become. So the ability to identify how we have grown up, what are the things that have happened to us? Nobody, we are all expressions of how, except by a birth defect, we are all expressions of the environments that raised us.
Yes.
Of the people that spoke into our lives.
Yes.
And those people, of the people that didn't even speak into us, the people that probably did something to us or said something to us. We observed them, we experienced them, we heard them, we saw them, and we became.
Yes.
When we get into the fullness of adulthood, that is where we now become responsible for choice. Where we now choose how we want to become. But to choose how we want to become, we need to first know how we have become.
Yes.
So ask such questions, for example, okay, Stephredd, how did you start liking red? Oh, why do you hate pink so much? Oh, why do you talk with the depth of baritone? Why do you square your shoulder when you think men are around? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Ask all the questions, because as children, we're all born tabula rasa. We become. We become empty by experiences that happen to us. So we progress. So who you have become, before you start going out with your full chest to say, do you, find out who that you is.
Come on.
What is that you nursing? What is that you believing? What is that you inclining towards? Who formed
who are you
that
really?
you? When you're able to identify that, then you can now begin to choose to say, okay, I like this one, I'll keep on. I don't like this one, I will change it. Who do I want to change it to? And that helps, right? Always the defining where you want to get to and then going through the process of
Oh
the
my
evolution.
goodness. Oh God. Oh gosh. Please, if you're learning something, someone is saying human centricity is like gravity. It's aligned with what humans naturally are, not what we do. We are all 8 billion one of one humans, all with unique life perspectives. Absolutely. So yeah, we're all different. We are all different. And I think our differences and our uniqueness is what makes us special. So I think I see a lot of people trying, when you were saying do you, what came to me is there was a time I was talking about the desires of a person's heart. I say sometimes the desires of our heart are not our desires.
Yeah.
Sometimes the desires of our heart are desires that
They maybe have been
people
planted by someone else.
projected. Yes.
Yeah, their
On us.
projections,
Yes.
other people's
Yes.
anticipations. Yeah,
And
yeah,
other people's expectations and
expectations
everything.
of us.
We now think that, oh, it's my desire, so we start pursuing it.
Sorry, other people's reality that they made look so beautiful.
So yes.
And because we did not have a reaffirmation, an internal understanding of the variations of reality.
Yes.
You remember what I said at the beginning, that when God created us, he put a distinct part of himself in each person. So 8 billion people, 8 billion expressions of one God. Probably even more, because some people have only one talent, some have 5. For example, I have about 5 or 6 talents. Some people have 1. Some people have 2. So 8 billion people will maybe looking at somewhere close to 16 billion talents. All expressions of a unique God. Yeah. But if when I was born, I didn't have an affirming voice to let me know that this genius that you have is all that there is to build and beautify. If I don't come to that awareness, I will look at someone else's genius and say, oh, it's so beautiful. That is how I should be. So we don't look at who we are. We desire everybody else. Up until we come to a point and begin to live a life of regret. But then because we have worn the masks for so long, we're afraid to take it off. So we'll keep wearing it.
Oh my gosh. This is so, when two people that are deep come together, I'm not even surprised, because when you're saying where you're going, right? I'm like, we're gonna be here for the next 2 hours, because these are deep things. Some of them we cannot gloss over them. What you just said now, it's God. Somebody asked me, I was called to speak somewhere, and they asked me, what's your greatest lesson ever in your entire life? I said that things are not always what they seem. And they're looking at me like, because there is something happening, then there is something that is real, the reality of what is happening. And many times we look at what is happening and not the reality, because we feel like what is happening is the reality. A lot of times it's not the reality. It's just the symptom, the effect, what we're seeing at the end result of something that has happened, or something that is really happening, and we can go there. But you see, you've said a lot of things. I think one thing I want to pick is the fact that we undervalue who we are, what we have, and we overvalue what other people
have. Yes.
We need to start.
Michael is saying something here. Sorry, Michael said we need to remember to dance with each other. That is important. But quite importantly too, we need to remember to dance with ourselves. We need to remember to dance with ourselves up to the point where we are, when people say you're too full of yourself, the question should be, who should I be full of? I should be full of myself.
Should I be full of you?
Should I be full of you, or should I be full of the neighbor? Don't be full of yourself. I need to be, I need to be full of myself, full to the awareness of who I am, so that I can give that self. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and the person, we're talking about around this area, and the need, even sometimes religion makes it seem like you should downplay, don't show too much. I said, even God himself.
Yes.
When he started creation, no, let's go back. He said he looked at the stars and looked at and he said it is good. That means even God himself praised himself. Then after praising himself, he rested. He self-appreciated. To say, this is good. The only way, so it's, imagine that I come and say, I finished dressing up, and someone just be like, you're pretty. And then I tell myself, you look good. Someone else say, don't be full of yourself. Don't be proud. Humble yourself.
So if God, that I'm supposed to be a mini God to, gave me himself, his spirit into me, and he praises himself, why should I praise myself? I'm praising myself because I'm recognizing the godness, the godlikeness in me that
Yeah.
also gives him praise.
That's it.
So
That's it right there.
the ability to realize who I am, and they say, you fine, oh, but what? Because monkey know the born goats now.
Come on.
I know who my father is.
Yeah.
Appreciate yourself, dance with yourself. When you have worked hard, rest, because even God himself, when he do finish, praise himself, hey, time to sleep, because he was satisfied with the works of his hands. So coming back, that part of that place of self-awareness is not just knowing yourself, it is choosing yourself, giving yourself, and even knowing when to retreat from giving yourself to people and give yourself to yourself.
Hey, that's
That
word.
is the only way we can live optimally, that we can live again, that we can live optimally. Otherwise, we're going to struggle,
We
we'll
got it.
struggle like this, we'll
And
struggle.
then you now realize at the end of your journey that I was on the road. I was struggling for the road. In fact, may we
for the wrong reasons.
May we never get to that point. That's why things like this are very important, so that you can go from merely existing to truly living. And I like how you mentioned self-awareness, because that's a strong pillar of resilience. And many people are trying to be resilient without being self-aware. It's not even possible. It can't even happen. And I like how you defined it. It's not just knowing yourself, it's choosing you. It's showing up as the real you. See, I always say this thing, your tribe will locate you. And I always say it. When I see people that I'm like, when I see people that I'm like, this is my person. This is my person. This is my kind of person. I'm the kind of person that I get into a place and I hear something that is appealing to me and I scream, I shout, I gesticulate, I do like this. So people cannot handle it. They're like, can't you just be calm and just be in one place? I'm like, I cannot be, because that's not who I am. And I like when you said that when we praise ourselves, it gives God glory. It's still back to God. Don't think that when you praise yourself, you're now proud. Then you're no longer giving God glory. These are all the religious conditionings that we have. It's when you praise yourself. I do it a lot. Looking at myself, Enifume, you're so cute today. These glasses. I do it. It's without self-talk, you cannot sustain your live again journey. Without self-talk, how do you want to do it? Sometimes the voices in your head will be so loud. You'll just be hearing those voices. They never stop. You need to shout and speak and shout at them to the point where they're like, yes, ma. Ma. They know who is the boss. I've realized that. So I don't even bother trying to stop them. I just speak on top of them, like who they talk, who they breathe, who be that? Where you did? Who they be? Where they be? You know, kind of thing. Hey! So they will never ever stop. So if you're listening to us, there's so much to unpack from here, and the quality of discussion here is so rich. Like, if you're able to really just listen to us with an open mind, we know that your own case might be different, right? But these are principles. You have something inside of you that you're underrating. It might even be a skill. It might be a talent. It might be, something that people complain about that thing a lot. You talk too much. You're always talking about yourself. Why are you the only person? Whatever they're complaining about.
You to talk about yourself. As I'm talking about myself, you to talk about yourself now. Who is stopping you from talking about yourself? As I'm talking about myself, it can't be paying you that I'm talking about myself. You said talk about yourself. You think I don't know? I don't get it. When people like, why are you talking about it? I went for. I'm sorry. I mean, this just came to me. My school had their 50th anniversary and I had to travel for it. And then they were calling people to say, oh, let's sing the school anthem. So I just went. I had no expectations of that union. I just wanted to have fun. Let me just go. Maybe I'll see some of my old school friends. I'm just going to associate with my ex-alumni and have fun. And then for every moment, there was a moment to dance. I showed up to dance. I didn't know that particular video was going to go as wide as it went. I was just dancing on my own, and some school girl came to join me, and I was like, you want to dance? Yeah, let's dance together. My own was like, okay, let me be dancing and you're following me. But it turned out to be that, this junior girl wants to try this ancestor to dance. You don't know your mates, and it just went on around. But there was a time they were calling, okay, come, let's sing the school anthem. And like, who is going to sing the new school anthem? And I stood up, and one of my classmates, right, who had been there with me, said, why are you standing up again? Let somebody else go. You have been standing too much. And I said, well, the more the merrier. If they can stand, let them join me.
Woo! Oh
They
my
say who won't talk,
God!
you not talk.
I
They
love
say who won't talk, you not talk. I stand up to
it.
talk, you say, well,
Yo.
I stand up. Say, I don't do they talk to me, another person. The person who won't talk, they stand. If all of
Oh
us talk
gosh.
together, I go switch past, the more the merrier.
Hey!
So
Aya!
the thing, so when you find yourself in that situation, if you, and hopefully that someone would hear this and learn to believe and celebrate themselves more.
Yes.
If they talk to this, get to they talk to, they talk, you talk your
Talk your
own. Why
own
you know
as
they
well.
talk your
Let's talk
own? Why my own
together.
where they talk, they pay you. Yeah, let's
Mm.
talk together. Let's connect. If you be say maybe after the fear, as I know the fear, I can help you come out for your fear. Or if
Exactly.
you won't talk, you the fear as they talk, nobody don't slap me. You said you talk your own. Let us all
Aye.
talk together, learn together. You know,
Oh gosh.
it's
Oh
interesting.
gosh. I'm so
Sorry.
excited. Oh gosh. See, people don't get to this point. And I want to say this because for someone listening to us, maybe they'll be wondering, why are these people so confident? Why? What is even why? Where are they? What's
It's
even
a
doing them?
choice. It's a choice. It's a
Oh,
choice. It's a choice to be so. It's
it's
a
a choice.
choice to be so. It's a choice to be confident. Because if you are going to weigh the things that life has, so when you see people coming out to speak, you think nothing has happened to them. But
Mm.
if they give you
Gist.
a flash or an inkling into what, if I give you an inkling into my journey through life, my sister or my brother, don't take it. But part of living again, part of resilience is the ability to look danger in the
Yes.
face and take the fear out of it.
Yes.
The fear that you feel, take the sting out of that fear.
Yes.
It's not because you don't face danger every day. It's a choice to say, and I like to say, all dying, I die. If I stand up, I will die. If I sit down, I will die. I better make dying worth the cause.
Yes.
So if I'm going to die, let me die fighting.
Good
Let me
call.
not die sitting.
Yes.
Let me
Oh
not
my
die
goodness.
complacent. Let me die for a purpose. So for every time you feel yourself holding back, oh, I don't know what will happen. The truth is, if you don't talk, you will die. If you talk, you will die.
You die.
If you don't
Oh wow.
do, you will die. You will just
Oh
choose.
wow.
What do I really want to do? That is a legacy I can leave behind, or that is it is something that I want to be remembered for. What is holding me back? I'm afraid of how people will think. If you don't do, they will talk about it. So just show up with what do I believe is the best thing to do now. I don't know whether it will be right or wrong.
Do it
Do
and
it.
take responsibility.
If it
That's
goes,
really the
yes,
most
it's in
important
the
thing.
future. The thing now is for those that are afraid, right or wrong are relative. It's in retrospect in the future that you determine an outcome.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
life is a risk. Take it.
Yes.
Show up. When you do it, even if you fail, you will learn how not to do something again.
Yes. Lessons
If you
learned.
succeed, you will build confidence to try again. If you do not think, you will die a mediocre, full of bitterness, hatred, envy, frustration, and it will seem like God is wicked. God wasn't wicked. He
God,
just refused to allow
no.
the genius that he has put in you to shine through.
Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh. I don't think there's anyone that will watch this after today, and that would not be inspired to live again. I want to just touch on something that you mentioned about all die or die. I always use Esther when I'm talking about living again. Esther said, if I perish, I perish. Many times there's a palace that we've built, or there's a palace we've gotten comfortable with, because we don't remember where we're coming from. Esther was an orphan coming from a place of, someone had to pick her up, Mordecai, and put her in his house and then nurture her.
Yeah.
And then she got to the palace and she forgot. And she's like, Oma, I beg, make her just chill. This is the life. And then her people, which was a cause that she could stand up to, she said, let me just relax. But the truth is, if she had done anything about it, she had done nothing about it, she could have died. If she had done something about it, she could have still died. Because last, she don't even know whether the king would just come and say, hey, it's true, you're a Jew.
It's true.
It's true.
You're a Jew.
You're a Jew, but I cannot pass a law that will not affect you. So let me cuckoo. You don't even know what could have happened. But she stood up and she chose to truly live and not merely exist. So if you're listening to us, I think one thing that you need to know is, what are you going to die for? Because if you don't die, you will not live. Except a corn of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it abideth alone. And that's really what the core foundation of the Live Again movement is about. Is dying to that old
Sorry,
you,
just
to
to
that
tweak that a
layer of
little.
you.
Permit me
Yeah.
to interject. You said, what are you going to die for? It's not what they are going to die for. What are they dying for? Because for every day we're dying to
We're
something.
dying.
And we're
Yeah.
living
That's
for
what I'm asking
something.
that
Are
question for
we
now. Yes.
consciously
Now,
dying?
what are you gonna
Are you
die for?
consciously dying? What are you dying for? See, Elifome, you are dying for something right now.
Yeah.
By your current choices, you're already dying.
By
Are you
showing up
consciously
live
dying?
today, I'm
Are you
already
aware?
dying to
Are
something.
you aware of what you are dying for? So that you know this thing I'm dying for. No, that's all I was to die for. Change it.
Yeah.
Because every day we're dying for something.
Yeah.
So
Whether
what are
we
you?
know
Your
it or
choices be
not,
something you are or not. You are.
consciously
What are
or
you willing to
unconsciously.
live for? And if death comes, you are willing to die for. So the thing is, if we have not come to that place of awareness of self to realize that we're dying for something. Oh, this choice that I've made, I've chosen to die to something. Is this something I'm willing to die for? This thing I want to do. If death comes, am I willing to die for it? If I'm not, change it immediately. That is
Yeah.
what self-awareness will do.
Yeah.
What are you dying for? Tomorrow, many people are going to work. They are going to be dying. They are dying. You are dying
To
to that
sleep
job.
it. Yes, now. You like
You
sleep
are
now.
dying to that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is this relationship, if death meets me in this relationship, am I willing to die for this woman?
Mm.
Am I willing to die for this man? Am I willing to die for this job? Even if it is for a short period, what are you consciously dying for? So that if death comes in it, you can say, yes, I chose it, I'm willing.
I chose it.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
realign and
Yeah.
choose yourself in such a way that you are living for what you want to live for and dying for what you want to die for.
Living for what you want to live for and dying for what you need to die for. And I think it's progressive. It's very progressive. It's one before the other. It's when you do the, so there is the there is the death that you need to die. Then there is the dying that you need to die continually. And the death that you need to die today is the death that would enable you to continue to die for the thing that is worth it. Because some of us are dying for things that are not, like you said, we're all dying, whether we know it or not. Then we need to know that what we're dying for is that which we want to really die for. So that when, like you said, when we actually die for that thing, we can own it with our full chest. We can take the responsibility and say, you know what, I worked in this place for 5 years and I take responsibility. When I was working here, I understood the implication. I knew what this was going to take of me, but I gave it my best and I have no regrets. I think that part of knowing that what you need to die for is you really, is tied to what you want to be known for. And nobody is really chasing you and saying, Stephredd, how far? You did not come to the office today. Oluwatobi, where are you? And they're looking for you all over the place. It's still what we're saying about bringing your true self, finding your real self, your authentic self, bringing that true self, and like you said, showing up as your genius and giving in your best into everything you're doing. But if you don't get to the point where you understand that you're a genius and you're able to leverage the disruptions and use them to your advantage, you would settle and you will give less of your best, and it will ultimately affect everything, and then you will still end up merely existing and not truly living. I think that's like a summary of everything that we've been saying since we started. Oh wow, we didn't even go to the questions because we've gone into them in different ways, but I want to ask you, have you ever been knocked down by life? Because you mentioned something about when you were sometime ago when you were growing up, that you became defensive. And one thing I didn't mention was that I actually was a snob in secondary school, and I could relate to what you said, because people thought I was a snob because I was hard. They didn't know that I was a snob because of something. I was a snob because I felt and I didn't enjoy my secondary school. So if I can look at that, looking back, I existed in secondary school. I was just passing through. I didn't understand. I didn't even follow socials, all those things. I don't have any pictures of secondary school. I was just going through it like, please. And so I can relate to what you're saying. And which is why when I say life doesn't knock you down once, I was silenced before. Life has tried to silence me again and again, and through abuse when I grew up much older, and I realized, oh, my voice is what the devil has been trying to steal. I'm not going to let it happen. And I knew that my voice was actually my power and what it is that God has given me to affect my world. But I wanted to really talk towards, have you ever been knocked down by life? Because these people that are resilient and you are talking with confidence, they're like, I beg these people, and they say that they used to face challenges and they die daily, and they even died to show up today. But I don't really, I'm not really, they don't really know what I'm really going through, because I need to know, that kind of thing. So I want you to speak to maybe any time in your life where you have been really knocked down by life, and what were the practical steps that you took to bounce back. I know that if you talk about how you became Stephredd, it will be very long, and it will be a lot. But is there any experience you
How
can
many
remember?
minutes do you have left for this live? Because you're asking me a question that I can't
like
answer.
15 minutes
How many minutes
altogether. 15 minutes altogether. It's like
So
this question go long.
which particular you go long? Which particular disruption do you want me to tell you about? Is this about losing my father at 7 and having to start from ground zero with my mother and having to farm and my father was very wealthy, but after he died, family took everything, so we became very poor. And we had to farm, and growing with the farm, going through the farming, the selling, hawking bread. The other day, I saw someone counting bread from a lady counting bread from a bus to deliver to someone, and I smiled and I went to meet her and say, well done. Because I could connect with it, because that used to be me once. I was telling someone yesterday about how I'd lied to everybody that my father was in America in secondary school, because every visiting day, when fathers come to visit their children, I don't see my father, and I began to have a low self-esteem. So I lied to them that whether your daddy has never come to school, I said, yes, he's abroad. My father had died many years before. And so they had this illusion that my father was in the America. And so on visiting days, I give that self-perception of who I am not. And then one day I'd gone to sell bread. It was midterm break, and I went to help my mother sell bread in the market, Santana Market, then in Benin. And I'd shared the bread. Right? No, we used to share bread, pay for ground. So my immediate elder sister and I, we had put bread on the floor and we're selling. Of course, they come to buy. And then in the distance, of course, hold out our umbrella, buy bread. And I saw my classmate, Ian Adam Saliu, coming from a distance. I just told my sister, here they come, here they come. I say, here they come, me will not sell this bread. Because my mind was like, this would, my full reputation is done. She's going to take me to school and say, I saw her selling bread in Santana Market, my small reputation. So, of which typically when we're going to sell the bread, my mother tells us that's the school fees, we'll finish selling it. And when I now told myself in my mind, I just said, Mommy, go beat me today, this bread, I not go sell her. If she comes there, so we held the umbrella, I held the umbrella to cover our face. And truly, she came with her mother, bread how much? I said, we don't sell and finish. You know, they said, no, they don't buy and finish. Customer don't buy and finish, the customer will they wait for. And they walk, as they were walking away, we turned the umbrella to follow like that, follow like that, follow like that. So they don't see our faces, because then my sister was in SS3, so I was in SS1. And, we're both in schools. I'm like, our small repetition like this, you want to, please, So is it that, or, and having to, even you can say, okay, those were still childhood experiences that we had to go through. But then personally, remember repeating, I remember failing in university, but quite importantly, I remember being fired from a job. I remember losing a job the first time. My contract was changed abruptly and I had to start again. But then pivoting in that, I got my next big career job, which took me to Cameroon, where I was there for almost 3 years. But then fast forwarding from there, which is why I say disruptions happen in succession.
Yeah.
And then it comes, it is not, you don't wait. You're not like you anticipate a disruption, but you prepare yourself such that even if it comes, you can withstand it.
Yeah.
If you can't overcome it, you can withstand it. Which is why I can't stop talking about building competence, building capacity. You don't build capacity on stage. You build capacity before you get to the stage. So build capacity before an opportunity comes. Build capacity before the woman comes, before the husband comes, before the wife comes. Build capacity before the
Job
children come.
comes.
Build capacity before the
Yeah.
job comes. And when it comes, regardless of what it is, you are able to shake it off.
Mm.
One of the biggest ones that hit me was I'd almost hit like, I was a few steps away from, let me just say, I was a step away from the C-suite, and I was fired from a job. I was fired for reasons I can't explain to you tomorrow. And while that was a point in my life where my back didn't just hit ground zero, that was the first time in my life that I contemplated suicide. That was the first time in my life that I can't handle it. It was too much at the time. It was and the reason I felt like that, which is why I'm very big on self-awareness, is because I'm big on identity, is because I had defined myself by the job. My sense of worth, my sense of value, my sense of recognition was the job. So when the job went away, my life went with it. So I suddenly felt no need to live again. And if there's anything I talk about frequently is whoever you are now, make sure that it is not tied to a thing, a person, a place, money, clothes, anything.
Status, achievements.
You must be able to define yourself by a belief in who you are from within. A deep sense of understanding of who you are. Otherwise, even if it's a marriage, if you define yourself by that marriage, if the marriage crashes, you crash.
Yeah.
If you define yourself by that job, if the job crashes, you crash. You have to define yourself in a manner that accentuates the genius that you have, that God put in you.
Yeah.
If that is the only thing, such that no matter what breaks or no matter what falls, you come back to the center to remember, who am I?
You. Yeah.
And from there, when you become aware, it's a continuous process, I beg your pardon, of re-engineering. When you come back to who am I? Self-discovery. Who am I? How did I become this? Or how did I get here? And it's a place of reviewing. How did this? Okay, what could I have done different? Become aware. Rather discover. When you go through the process of questioning to discover, what does discovery lead to? It leads to awareness.
Yeah.
Self-awareness. When you become self-aware, from there self-discovery to self-awareness, when we become aware, one thing we don't do is appreciate ourselves.
Yeah.
Whether you become aware of how foolish you have been,
judge ourselves.
Whether you become aware of how foolish you have been, how dumb you have been, or how great you have been, whether positive or negative, appreciate effort. Appreciate that you tried. Appreciate that you showed up. Appreciation. Tell yourself, that could have been better, but well done for trying.
Yeah.
When you appreciate yourself, set a goal. Do I want to stay here or do I want to change?
Yeah.
When you make a decision to change, if you make a decision to change, so you are moving from self-discovery to self-awareness to self-appreciation to self-improvement. So you are improving yourself based on who you want to become. That is different from how you were. When you improve yourself, self-improvement, the next thing is you self-evaluate. Right. I beg your pardon, self-apply. When you go to school, you get the knowledge, Abby. What do you do with the knowledge? You're supposed to use the knowledge. Self-engagement, self-application, but that is now where the fear comes in. What if I fail? What if I don't? You will never know if you will fail if you don't try. You will never know if you will succeed if you don't try.
Yeah.
So self-engage regardless. So after you have improved yourself, you engage yourself on that business. If you had a broken relationship, position yourself for another relationship. All men are not scum because one man was scum, or because two men were scum. Hello, all women are not scum because some women broke your heart. No.
Yeah.
The woman or the man that you dated was scum.
Was the one that was scum, bam.
It doesn't mean all men are. There are many good men. Give yourself the opportunity to find them or to be found by them. There are many good women. Give yourself the opportunity to find them or to be found by them. Self-engage. I've improved myself now. Show up. Use the talent that you have learned, acquired. Use the skill you have acquired. Use the knowledge you have acquired. When you self-engage, then you self-evaluate. Based on how you engage, there will be results.
Yeah.
Just like how you want to have babies. You have sex with your husband. And then 9 months later, or rather a few weeks later, you evaluate to check whether anything has happened.
Yeah.
Self-evaluate based on what I anticipated. What is my result? You evaluate the result. If in evaluating results you realize that, oh, you achieved your goal, great. You have come to self-mastery on that level. Move to another level. If you didn't achieve your result, what do? Go back to appreciating yourself. I tried.
Yeah.
I didn't make it, but I tried.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do I need to
did
try?
well.
What else do I need to do? Yeah, so these are just the phrases for me that I use to, and that I progressively use. And this is what it is, the process of, I call this self-re-engineering process, from self-discovery to self-awareness to self-appreciation, self-improvement, self-engagement or application, self-evaluation, and self-mastery. So those are the 7 phases that I believe that there are steps that we can take regardless of what hits us. We can go through those steps and always be able to recalibrate in the process.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You just got a master class. If you've been listening to us, you just got a master class. If you can follow the steps, I'm sure you will begin to live again just like her as well. I think if I'm going to ask you why it's important to live again, you've said it again and again. You've mentioned the fact that there's something we have to be known for, you know, and that we are more than what we're going through. And it's important for us to live again, to be able to become everything that we are supposed to be. That genius must come out. Whether there's disruption or no disruption, it must come out. I think one of the questions I want to ask you before I let you go is, how do you handle pain? Because we live in a world where sometimes people that inflict this pain on us, well, ourselves, sometimes we're the self-inflictors, sometimes it's people that are close to us, sometimes it's the circumstances that we're in, but really there are ways to handle pain if you want to live again. Because if you take in pain and you don't use it for what it's supposed to be used for, it can cause you to exist. So I want you to speak to that. How do you handle pain? And for someone listening, right, I think last words for someone who is merely existing and finding it difficult to truly live. They've heard everything we've said. They like what we've said, but there are things like, you know, programmings, you know, these things, conditionings. There are, you know, they are going back to the same environment. In fact, they are currently in that environment, right? And there's nothing they can really do for now. I won't say nothing because there's always something we can do, but I mean, they feel really helpless towards their situation, and they really need to hear something that would spur them on. They've heard everything, but they still want to hear, like, okay, this is my situation. It's not like I don't want to live again. I want to live again. I want to live again. But the problem is I'm finding it difficult due to the things that I'm going through and who I've become all these years. How right now, what's the first thing that I need to do, and how can I just at least begin to advance towards the point of living again? I think those are the questions I have for you before I let you go. How do you handle pain, and what are your last words for a woman or a man that is merely existing and finding it difficult to live again?
I'm not very well. I'm just going to say the way it is, right? If you did pain, you cry. If you pain, you will cry. But my people say, I will they cry this serious. As you they cry, as you they cry, stand. And one of the things that I have observed is, probably because of upbringing, some of us don't have willpower. Either you are born with willpower. For example, in the time when I contemplated suicide, when I caught the thought to say, no, if I kill myself, that may shock my husband. He will kill himself. If he kills himself, what will happen to our children? Bad thoughts, not a thought. And I threw that out the window. And then in that moment, and which is today's Mother's Day, and I'm really just, I mean, I really can't talk about it without my mother. I had a strong mother. Like I talked about earlier, that I lost my father when I was young. Lost my father at 7. My mother was 39 when my father died, and I'm the last of 5. I know what a strong woman is. I know who. If you say, what describe a strong woman, I call my mother's name. I saw her single-handedly do all kinds of jobs. She said the only thing she wouldn't do to raise us is prostitution. She farmed, she tapped rubber, she sold plank. She was the only female plank seller in the plank market, in the what they call a sawmill. She was the only female person there. Every other person men. She goes to
Woman.
tap rubber. As she was sewing, making puff puff, making ice cream. Well, we were the distributors. As she's making the bread, you go and sell it. When the one that remained, they don't finish counting. She did those things because in her mind was, my children will make it.
Mm-hmm.
So even in the midst of the tears, you wake up. If you keep rehearsing what you have lost, if you keep repeating what life or what people have done to you, all you will see is what they have done. You will not have space to redefine what you want to do. So don't repeat it. Don't nurse it. Don't rehearse it. Move from it. Grief is important to grieve, but even as you grieve, the thing is, grieving never really ends.
Yeah, actually.
My father died when I was 7. I still grieve my father. My father's birthday, December 29th. I cry every December 29th.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wish I'd seen him go grey. Sometimes I wish my mom didn't have to do life alone at 76. Right? So the grieving, it gets easier, but it really never goes away.
Yeah.
And what really keeps us through is, I thank God, and I'm telling myself, oh, I hope if he was alive, what I'm doing now, who I have become, is making him proud.
Yeah.
Right? And even aside from that, when you are able to take that pain and turn it into power, and I believe what we should do is learn to turn our pain into power, purpose, and profit. There is purpose in every pain. We have to stop looking at it as paralysis, but be able to look for the purpose in it, turn it to power, and turn that power to profit.
Yes.
So even while you cry, my people say, I will they cry,
they see road.
Because sometimes we also feel that we are the only ones that go through what we go through. Let me just take us back. If you are a Christian here, they abandon Jesus, who you be. Jesus' inner circle, his 12, his brothers stabbed him in the back. They kissed her for cheek. Kissing means I love you. Meanwhile, the kiss now to say, now this will come grab her. They betrayed him. Who are you? So when you say, oh, the people in your inner circle, if they could do it to the person that you call savior, who are you? Let me say, they go run you streets. So be ready for the people in life, for your kindred to run you street. When they run you street, remember, say, they don't run Jesus street before who I be.
Not the first, yeah.
I'm not the first, but if in all of it, because of the glory ahead, he withstood it, recognize that, like you said, devil not they try idiots. Now who gets something for head, they try.
Yes.
So when you're able to realize this pain, what does it pain mean? What is the purpose behind this pain? Why do I have to go through this pain? What is the purpose in it? When you're able to find that purpose, turn it to power, channel it, and to shock you. Even after you go turn out to money, you will begin to help. I mean, and I take a lot from the Bible, because I am. That is my life manual. It says that whatever you are going through, you are preparing to help somebody else that will go through it.
Yeah.
So the reason I can talk about resilience, I talk about pain today, because I've had the need. That is why I organize a resilience conference every year.
Yeah.
January resilience conference, and the purpose of it is to help you progressively show up regardless of a disruptive world.
Yeah.
Disruptions will come. It's not about to cease, but how do you take that disruption, squeeze the juice out of it, and drink the juice, move to the next level.
I love it.
So no matter how much of pain you experience, cry. If you dey pain, you cry. But as you dey cry, not close eye, open the eye. Make the tears dey fall where eye open, because as the eye dey open, you dey think.
Yeah.
You're thinking of what next. You're thinking of how do I get out of this? How long do I stay in this? Don't look for peace, because another thing is, we love to be told sorry. If you are the life that likes to be told sorry, to be petted. Oh, this life is wicked. Why you go day say. Seeking sympathy or seeking hand-me-downs. Come on, stop being the disrupted. Move to the point of becoming the disruptor.
Come on.
Turn that pain to power by finding the purpose behind this. and then turn the power to profit.
And
that's where I'm going to live.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, like, what else do you want to hear? Like, oh my gosh, I knew that this was how it was going to be, so I'm not even surprised. So I'm just happy that we were able to do this, and I'm gonna save this so that everyone who watches this can actually have that, like, have steps they can take to live again. These things they're not easy, and I have to say that they're not easy. You have to be ready to put in the work. You have to want it. You have to desire it. You have to be willing to go from talking to doing. You have to be willing to take the things that life has thrown at you and say, you know what, I will live again regardless. You have to. There's no other way. This coming week, I'm on a panel for with Lagos State Domestic Violence Agency. And every time I have anything to do with them, I'm just thinking of when I walked into their office to report that I was being abused. And I think about it every time I say I moved from domestic violence victim to victor. I could have stayed there. I could have every time come up to say, oh, I was abused, and every day I'm talking about it, and then I'm not growing, I'm just the same spot, or I'm trying to look a certain way, but inside me, I'm a mess. And then with time, like Apostle Arome said, if you're pregnant with nothing, after a while, you go show, say now nothing, you get belly for. So that building capacity, we cannot overemphasize that. Stop trying to spend too much energy in looking like what you want people to see you as, and spend that energy into actually becoming, the person that you want people to see you as. There's difference there. It's not the same thing.
You are giving them who you want them to see as, and that person, you are giving them who you have built for them to see, and not who they want to see, who you think they want to see.
Yeah. And the thing about life is people will adjust. From the days of John the Baptist, people have been
will adjust.
And they will not stop because of something you did or didn't do. So I think everything that Stephredd has said today, please, let's take it to heart. Legacy is important. There's no living again without legacy consciousness. Knowing that I'm not just a single entity. I'm connected to people. If I don't rise, somebody else will not rise. If I don't live again, somebody else will not live again. If I don't choose to truly live, those connected to me would exist. Your children are watching you more than you know. They are watching you. People around you that you think you're not inspiring, they're looking at you. And you might think that you're a non-entity, but you're not a non-entity. In fact, the reason why the devil is fighting you so hard is because you are not an idiot. So I think with these few points of ours, I'm sure we must have been able to convince you that it is time to live again. It is time to go away from all this rehearsing, and I really want to reiterate something that Stephredd said. She said, squeeze the juice out of it and drink it, right? She said, don't repeat it. Let me go back to what I wrote down, because I wrote it down. She said, even in the tears, wake up. Ha! Oh my goodness. Don't repeat it. Don't nurse it. Don't rehearse it. Move from it. Don't stay there. Don't stay there. What you went through is valid. We're not saying it's not valid. We're not saying, oh no, whatever you went through, don't worry about. No, we're not saying you should deny it, because acceptance is critical to even living again. You have
Absolutely.
So we're not saying you should just say, oh, it doesn't exist. And no. We're saying recognize that it exists, but recognize that it came for a reason, and move from paralysis to analysis. Right, the right questioning, not the wrong ones. Why me? Why is my own like this? Who are that offend? Who is doing me? Who are the relationship that are worrying me? Who is worrying me? All those kind of things that put you in a state where you begin to exist. So move from there, and I'm sure that you will begin to live again. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to join me at the Live Again outreach, please feel free to do that. It's happening in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Link is in my bio to read more. Thank you, Stephredd, for doing this with me. It was really insightful. It was really fiery. It was really beautiful, and it was energetic. It was combustive. I loved it from beginning to the end, and I'm not even surprised because it's two energetic people, and we're trying our best to even contain, the energy and the timing, and just trying to make sure that we're not overboard with the time.
Yeah.
And I think we did. We tried our best. So thank you so much for doing this with me. God bless you, and keep being resilient. We are seeing you.
Thank you.
We are, in fact, we are loving you. And one thing that I love about you, just before you leave, I have to say this, and that's why I brought you on here. It's your authenticity. I always say that. So for me, I know Sabi form. I can't. And every time I think it's a lot of work when you're trying to be who you're not. It takes a lot of energy. So I'm the kind of person that can come to your house, sit down on the floor, ask you get garimo drink. I feel like life is meant to be lived in your authenticity. So when I see people that are authentic, I just love them, because it takes courage, it takes guts, it takes a lot of acceptance of yourself to actually say, this is who I am and this is who I'm showing up to be. And I see that every time. Like I see that every time, and is one thing I really, 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 really love about you. So keep being you. Not Thank the so how we said it now. People that are listening, don't do the you that somebody projected. This is that when you are your real self, you will attract the real people that value you for you, not the ones that are valuing you for what you are making them think you are. And the worst part of it is with time you can't sustain it. So there's no need. Don't even try it. Just, if you want to live again, step into your authenticity. And I hope that these questions that we've asked, sit down with these questions that Stephredd brought, everything, they were gold. This was gold. Sit with it and just introspect, and you will find the answers within you. God bless you all. We gotta go now. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye. Have a pleasant, beautiful week ahead.
You too. Bye-bye. Oh, wow. That was amazing. I don't even know what else to say. That was really, really amazing. It's been interesting at my end. I've been battling with my lights, but we show up regardless. Living again is one challenging journey that is worth it. If you don't live again, you would die. They said we are gods, but they said they are gods, or ye are gods, but you die like men. It will never be your portion. It will never be your portion. And it really comes to a point where you recognize, like Stephredd was saying, that you are a god. That I didn't want us to dwell there because of time. It will take a lot of time for us to go into your godness, your identity, who you truly are. But the truth is, there is you that life has happened to. Then there is you that is the real you that God has created and ordained you to be before life began to happen. That is the you that I really want you to be. That's the you that I want you to be introduced to this year. And this is why I'm inviting you for the Live Again outreach happening on April 27th in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Click the link in my bio or just visit liveagain.com.ng/outreach and you will get to find out more information about it. One thing I know for sure is that God doesn't want you to merely exist. We are approaching Easter. God wants you to truly live, because Jesus Christ did not die for nothing. And if you don't believe in Jesus Christ, that is the person that I believe in. And I believe that he loves us. He came to die because he loves us. That's what the Bible, the Holy Book says. He came to die because he loves us. And all the wahala he went through was so that you would have a life that is truly living and not merely existing. He can't go through all of that for you to now be merely existing. It will be a waste of his death. It will be a waste of the sacrifices that he has made. But the truth is, you now need to leverage those sacrifices and what he has done to be able to truly live and say, you know what, I'm not going to accept less. I'm not going to accept this life that is looking like a life that is not life abundantly. If it's not life abundantly, I'm not accepting it. And so what can I begin to do? What can I do differently? What do I have in my hand? What do I have inside of me? What are my talents? Why did I go through what I went through? How can I begin to move from here? And everything that Stephredd has said, everything that I have said, sit with it. I'm going to save this so that you can watch it, share it with someone that you feel like needs this, because we all need to be resilient in these times that we live in. Thank you so much. God bless you. And it's time to live again. Bye. See you next time. Bye.